Joining me now to talk Grammys prediction is Variety Magazine's Jem Aswald. Jem, welcome.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Well, before we get into who you think will walk home with the Grammy on Sunday, I do want to talk about the fact that obviously there was a lot of backlash with this year's nominations. It's something that The Weeknd had been calling out ever since his album was snubbed back in November. And just yesterday, he told the New York Times he has plans to boycott the Grammys moving forward. I feel like we have heard this before from a lot of different artists. He says that he will no longer allow his label to submit any music to the Grammys. Did this surprise you?
Did it surprise me? Not really, because the thing is, this isn't really about your opinion of his music or fans being angry or him being hurt or, offended at being left out. It seems to point to something genuinely wrong with the nominating process, because normally when an artist has the kind of year that he has had, they win 4 Grammys, 6 Grammys, sometimes as many as 8, and he wasn't even nominated. That makes no sense.
And you know, we've seen other artists like Jay-Z and Kanye, even Justin Bieber threatening to boycott the Grammys. I feel like The Weeknd took it a step further. And Harvey Mason Jr., the Recording Academy's interim president, he said he's disappointed, that he's upset, and he says that they are constantly evolving. Do you feel like you'll see other artists follow The Weeknd's suit?
Maybe this time, because this is the biggest snub in Grammy history. In the past, a lot of the disputes with the Grammys would be over the Grammys wanted an artist to perform one song, but they wanted to perform another song. And in Jay-Z's case, he was snubbed by, he was nominated either 8 or 9 times and didn't win anything, which was shocking. But at least he was nominated. The Weeknd wasn't even nominated, and that is very messed up.
And, you know, much to The Weeknd's dismay, they will be handing out those Grammys on Sunday. So let's talk about a little bit about who will win, who should win in 2 major categories. Starting with Record of the Year, here's who's nominated in the category. Who do you think should win and who will win in this category?
Record of the Year. Let me see.
We have Black Parade by Beyonce, Black Pumas, Rockstar, Say So, Everything I Wanted, Don't Start Now, Circles, and, of course, the Savage remix.
How did you know I don't have my glasses on and can't see?
I got you. I got you, Jem. I got you.
Thank you. I would say I would lean toward Beyonce. It feels like it could be her year, even though she only released 1 song this year. But it's a great song. And this fits a lot of the, the usual things you see with a song of the year and with a lot of the dynamics that are going on with the Grammys, with the push for more diversity. Another possibility is Dua Lipa. You know, people loved that album, and it had, ironically, so much going against it because it came out right when the pandemic started, and it's this dance party record when nobody could go to nightclubs or parties, but people just danced at home and they loved it.
It's so true, and I feel like she also was one of those first artists to decide to put out new music during this pandemic, and I think she'll be rewarded for it on Sunday, but we will see. Because she's also nominated in Album of the Year. Let's take a look at who's nominated there. You got Chilombo by Jhené Aiko, Black Pumas Deluxe Edition Black Pumas, Everyday Life Coldplay, DeJesse Volume 3 by Jacob Collier, Women in Music Part 3, Haim, Future Nostalgia, Dua Lipa, Hollywood's Bleeding Post Malone, and Folklore Taylor Swift. Let's hear your predictions. Who should win and who will win?
Well, I'll say in both of these categories that The Weeknd should have been nominated and would have been a front runner in both categories. Having said that, I'd put my money on Taylor Swift in this case, not only because of her Grammy history. In fact, her Grammy history might work against her because she's already won 2 albums of the year. But in this case, it's not only a more mature kind of Taylor Swift record. It's not as pop. It's more thoughtful. It is the kind of record that has won in the past, like Beck's Morning Phase record won in 2015, I think. And, it was a sort of adult alternative kind of record. And Taylor Swift's album is very much in line with that kind of sound, which seems to appeal to Grammy voters. It also doesn't hurt that she worked with some very big alternative music people on there. She worked with members of The National and Bon Iver and people like that. So, that expands her reach a little bit, which is silly as it sounds, that saying that a mainstream star like Taylor Swift is expanding her reach, but it does make a difference.
It does, and it will be interesting to see if she makes history by winning that 3rd album of the year, knowing that the last 2 records didn't get as much Grammys love, and she did have a problem with it. So I think this is like the comeback record.
I agree.
Well, we'll see how everything pans out on Sunday. Jem Aswald, thanks so much for joining us.